Welcome to Cavaletto Studios. I'm Chris. Join me for this slow and gentle yoga practice. Whether you are a beginner or more advanced, this class is for you. Relax your mind and body as we move from one posture to another, allowing time for the body to transition. A yoga block will be an optional prop, so grab your mat and let's get started. All right, we're going to begin seated, nice and tall, in an easy seat, Sukhasana. You can have either foot in front. And let's bring our palms up on our thighs and bring the first finger and thumb together. Pull the ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips as we check in with our posture. And if you're comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes and just focus on your breath as it slowly comes in and out through your nose. Feel a calmness washing over your body. Think about your practice today, listening to your body as you transition from asana to asana. Just taking notice of what feels good to the body, where there might be a little tension, and just breathe through it, trying to loosen things up. Take a nice deep cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. And bring your palms together to heart space. Draw your chin to your chest. Feel the stretch through the back of the neck. Spread out those fingers as you press them together. And then rotate those fingertips towards the earth, pressing the palms still, stretching through the wrists. Continue to focus on that breath. And then bring the fingertips back up to earth, or to your chin. And then open the arms wide, pressing them out, lifting the chin to neutral, the head to neutral. You can open your eyes, flip your palms up, put a nice smile on your face. We're going to slowly begin to transition our right palm to the floor, left arm to the sky, up and over that ear. Relax the shoulder on the right side. As your right hand rests on the floor, if you would like to walk it further out, you can. Keeping your left hip and knee on the floor, again, tuning into your breath. One more breath. And then slowly start to transition to the left. Place your left hand on the floor, right hand over. Tuning into that breath, relax your left shoulder. Keeping that right hip and knee down. Last breath. And then we slowly come back to neutral. Let the body rebound, the spine. Let everything readjust. Maybe some shoulder movements. Maybe the head can gently tilt side to side. Your fingertips are resting on the floor next to your thighs. And just let the head gently rock. One side to the other, ear to shoulder. And you might notice one side of the neck a little tighter than the other. One more each side. And then I want you to stay with your left ear. Once you get there, left ear to left shoulder. And then let your right side of your neck, just feel that nice stretch. Tuck your chin down just a tiny bit. And continue to breathe in and out through your nose. Maybe find that Ujjayi breath, where you breathe in through the nose, contract the throat as you exhale through the nose. Automatically feel the core muscles tighten and push up as you exhale. Slowly let your head come back to neutral and just again check in with that spine, with your posture. Let everything rebound. If you need to make some movement, always feel free to do that. And then right ear to right shoulder, feeling the stretch on the left side of the neck. Finding your breath. Maybe tilt the chin just slightly down. Again, tuning in. Sometimes we forget when we're stretching that we tend to hold our breath. So this is where we really want to tune in. As we breathe, we can try to relax the tension. And then come back to center. Slide both shoulders up to the ears and then all the way back down. And then look to your right, take a deep breath in. And then on your exhale, look to the left. Take another breath in. And exhale to the center. Inhale both arms all the way up to the sky. And then exhale both arms to shoulder levels, palms down. You're going to turn your thumbs towards the earth, and then you're going to bend your elbows and slide your hands behind your back. Now here you can either stack your palms, you can hold your wrists, forearms, or even reach for the elbows, and then open up. And again, I'm just going to give options all the way through so you can choose what feels good to you. And then we're going to start to lean forward. Just leaning forward. And then start to shift your upper body towards the right knee. Take a breath in, and then exhale, transition and shift your body to the left knee. Notice the difference. One side might be a little tighter. And then we're going to shift the body back to the center and then sit up nice and tall. Slowly, very slowly, bring the arms out from behind. And then just let them come forward. Let them rest on your shin or the floor out in front of you. Notice if there's any tension going on, and then slowly they're going to drift out to the side again, shoulder level. Relax the shoulders, and then you're going to bring your right arm across your left, so they're crisscrossing at the elbows. Option one is to hold on to your shoulders, and you can just move the elbows that are stacked up and down, or you can find your eagle arms and draw those arms up and down. Very slowly, whether your arms are in eagle arms or on the shoulders, unwind, extend it out. And let's try the other side. This time, left elbow over right. You can stack, place the hands on the shoulders, up and down, or you can bring the hands to eagle arms, draw up and down. Just noticing the difference in the shoulders. We're not judging our body. We're just making observations. What side might be a little more relaxed and looser, what side is not. And then we're slowly going to unwind. Reach the arms out to the side and exhale. Bring them back down. Go ahead and straighten out your legs, coming to a Dandasana. Straightening them out, bringing the hands next to the body, and give them a little shake. Notice what's going on. Placing the palms flat down next to your hips. Flex the feet. Feel the belly button pulling in and the crown of your head reaching to the sky. And breathe. 5 breaths here. Feel all the muscles working, making sure we're not leaning backwards, but maybe hinge a little forward. You can do it. One more breath. And then let the legs relax, shake them out. Now I'm going to give you an option if you have a block, if you want to do this. You don't have to use a block. Some of you won't need to. But what you're going to do is you're going to start by placing the block. If you want, you can sit on the block with your right butt cheek. And then you're going to take your left leg and you're going to tuck it under. So this will give you, if you have knee issues or really tight, then you might want to be on the block and tucking that back leg under. You can also use 2 blocks. If you want to have your foot out to the side, if that feels better, that is an option. And then we're going to straighten out the right leg, so the leg that you're sitting on the block with. So I'm just going to stay up on that block, and then we're going to flex the toes on that right foot. So we're working through that hamstring, lengthening. You can even bend the knees slightly as you draw your belly towards your thigh. You can have your fingertips, your hands on the floor, and just again, breathing. Maybe your leg will straighten, maybe you need to leave it bent. The goal is that hamstring, stretching it out. You might feel the calf. Really tune into that breath. Inhale and exhale. See if you can slow your breath as well. One more breath. And then we're going to come up slowly. You can bring your left foot back out, maybe placing the foot flat on the floor, give a little stretch for the ankle, placing the foot flat and rocking it side to side, massaging through that ankle joint. Now we're going to come off of our block and we're going to just bring it to the other side. So again, you don't have to use a block. You can just stay seated on the floor and bring your foot back if that's in your practice, or you can sit on the block. And then you'll bring your right foot back and straighten out your left, or have it slightly bent and sitting up nice and tall. So your left butt cheek is on the block, fingertips on the floor, nice and tall. So we never want to collapse into it. We want to stay lengthened. And you're going to start to hinge forward. So you're rotating through that hip, toes are up, and just notice the difference. And maybe you need to bend the knee a little more, especially if it feels really, really tight. And you'll notice a difference from one side to the other, especially if you have any low back issues going on. And the same thing with the knee on the right, you can always flex it out to the side if that feels better to you. If you've had, again, any back issues, I've got my bulging disc, so this left side is always a little bit more affected by it. It's a lot tighter for me. So be gentle with your body. And we're still breathing. Let's do about one more breath here. And then we'll bring the body up nice and tall. And bring your right foot back onto the floor, place it flat, and just rock it side to side, massaging through that ankle. Then we're going to slide off of our block. Go ahead and set it to the side. We'll use it again a little bit later. And we're going to transition to tabletop. So bringing the hands and knees to the floor, spread out those fingers. So your index fingers are facing the front of the mat, the thumbs towards each other. Pressing into the tops of the feet. Let's do cat-cow. So round through the back, tuck the chin, nice exhale. And then inhale, lift the head, lift the tailbone, arch the back. And then exhale, round. Inhale, lift and open. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and open. Exhale, round. One more series around here. After this one, exhale, round. Inhale, lift and arch. Our last cat-cow. And then find your neutral spine and go ahead and just drop your hips gently side to side. So we're going to get into the next posture, centering our hips, pull the shoulders away from the ears. Feel free to have anything under the knees if you need to have a blanket or a pad, or fold up your mat a little extra. We're going to take the right arm to the front of the mat, thumb is up. We're going to work towards extended tabletop. So take your left toe, place it at the back of the mat. Now maybe this is plenty for you. You can also just stay in tabletop. If you would like a little extra, you can lift your foot off the floor, extended tabletop. Pull the shoulder away from the ear. 5 breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Find that ujjayi breath. Embrace that shakiness. We want to engage that core. We want to feel your glutes, that left butt cheek, the belly is all working together. One more breath. Then you can bring your hand and knee to the floor. And again, just drop the hips side to side. If you need to take your left hand and flip it upside down, fingertips towards the knee, and just wiggle them. See if you can stretch out that forearm a bit. And then we're going to bring it back to the floor. Let's do the other side. So left arm extending. Right toe, first press it into the back of the mat. Get a little stretch for that foot in that calf, lift that right leg off the floor. You're looking at the thumb on the floor, keeping the neck in alignment. Level out your hips and find your breath. One side might be a little shakier than the other. That's okay. The more you practice this, the easier it gets, the stronger your body gets. You have one more breath. And then we'll bring the hand and knee to the floor. And again, flip the right hand over, maybe wiggle it, stretch out that wrist and the forearm. And then flip it back onto the floor. Now we're going to take the knees apart, feet together. We're going to slide the hips towards the heels, finding your child's pose. Draw the belly between the thighs, forehead to the mat, reaching the arms out front. And just breathe 5 breaths here. If you would like a little more stretch in the upper body, you can always bring your palms together, forearms to the floor, and then bend the elbows, drawing your thumbs toward your neck. One more breath. And then we'll bring the palms to the floor, and then we start to walk our upper body away from the floor, spreading out the fingers. They're still pressed out front. We're going to transition to our downward facing dog, tucking your toes, drawing your knees into alignment, hands in front of the shoulders. Start to lift those hips to the sky, and then go ahead and pedal out your feet, walk your dog, moving those hips side to side. You want this to feel good. And then soften the knees and melt into your downward facing dog. 5 breaths here, pressing into the fingertips and the palms. Find that Ujjayi breath. Notice how the tension starts to relax and release. Make any movements or adjustments that you need to. And then after the 5th breath, we're going to lift the right leg up, 3-legged dog, leveling out those hips, pressing gently into the left foot on the floor. Then go ahead and bend your right knee, and you're going to bring the foot between the hands, and go ahead and lower your left knee to the floor, and feel free to put anything under it if you want. And this is where you'll use your block again. So you'll bring your block out next to your right foot. And you can have your hands on the block. You can bring your arms on the inside of that right knee. And just gently hinge forward. Pull the shoulders away from the ears and start to lengthen through the spine as those hips press forward. So you might feel a lot of stretch right here in that left hip flexor, right where the leg meets into the hip. Now you're going to take your right foot and just heel toe it just a little bit towards the right side of your mat. Maybe turn your toe open slightly. Now we're going to dive a little deeper into this posture. And I'm again give options. So some of you might want to stay on the block. Some of you can walk your hands to the floor. You might even be able to bring your elbow to the block, your left elbow, or even to the floor. You can even put your forehead maybe on the block. So again, I'm just giving lots of options. You pick what you would like. Some of you might even wrap your hands around the leg and interlace. Lots of options here. You can let your knee drop open slightly if you'd like. You can even roll onto the outside edge of your foot if it feels better. If you want more of a challenge, try to keep the foot flat and pull the knee in towards your shoulder and find your breath. You can have your back left toe tucked under or not. If you put the top of your foot onto the floor, you can press into it, getting a little better stretch and less pressure on the knee on the floor. All right, now we are done with our 5 breaths, so we're going to lengthen, lift, again, pressing the palms back onto the floor or your block. So you're now going to take your right hand and reach it towards the back of your mat. So you're doing a little twist towards your right knee. Now maybe this is plenty for you. Some of you might be able to bend your left knee and grab hold of your left foot. If that causes knee discomfort, please don't go there. Just reach and feel that nice stretch. Open up that chest. You can look at your knee or all the way back towards your foot. 5 breaths. One more breath. And then we're going to release the foot if you're holding it. Good. Slowly slide that right knee back. Find your tabletop and a gentle rock side to side on the hips. And then we'll tuck our toes and find our downward facing dog again. Pedal out your feet to make adjustments and then melt into your down dog. 5 breaths. Each time we work through a posture, we might be able to go a little deeper into it. Really focus on that ujjayi breathing. And keep your knees soft so you protect that low back. We're going to start to take our left leg up, 3-legged dog. And then you're going to bend the knee and bring that left foot right up there between the hands as you lower your right knee to the floor. This is where you'll get your block again. You can place your hands on the block or the floor, whatever works for you. You can walk your foot a little wider so you have some space. And just lengthen and lift. Open up that body, but keeping your hands on the floor or the block. Pushing into the back right foot on the floor, feeling that stretch through that right hip flexor, right where that leg connects. One side definitely tighter for me. How about you? Can you feel that? And breathe. Now let's go a little deeper if you'd like. This might be plenty for you. If you need to take a shift out and back in, listen to the body. Another option is you can bring your elbow to the block or the floor, bringing it all the way down. And again, you can challenge yourself by pulling the knee in or letting it fall open. You never want to feel pain in any of these stretches. That's why we use the block. It's a great prop. One more breath. Then we'll start to lengthen if we're down close to the floor. And again, you can also use the block here if you want to stay taller. So you either have your right hand on the block or the floor. Take your left arm and reach it back. And maybe this is plenty and you stay here. Maybe you bend your right leg and hold on to the foot. And breathe. Open up that heart. You can look back at your foot or the knee. If you have a strap or a towel or a belt, you're welcome to use that on the foot as well. As long as, again, this isn't bothering your knee, make sure you have something. I have a very thick mat. Make you have something under that knee. All right, I think that's 5 breaths. Let's go ahead and release that foot. And bring the hands to the floor. Slide that knee back. You can slide the block out of the way for right now. Let's find our downward facing dog. Lift those hips. Again, pedal out the feet to make adjustments as you melt into your downward facing dog. Pressing into the fingertips and the palms. Feel the shoulders relax. Feel the shoulder blades spread apart. Tailbone reaching to the sky. Knees are slightly bent so we protect that low back. Now you're going to take your feet and you're going to walk towards the middle of your mat wide, and you're going to take your hands and walk them towards your feet. So you meet your hands and feet in the middle of the mat, a little bit wider than the hips, and just hang out here. Hands can be either holding the elbows or on the floor. You can always use a block, and then shift yourself side to side, foot to foot. Feel the shift in the hips. And then you're going to bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees, and slowly rise all the way up. Slide your hands behind that low back, open it up, slide the elbows together, and find your breath. Opening the heart. Knees are not locked, they're soft. Again, think about pulling the elbows backwards a little further, and then release to neutral. And then shake out the arms, let them swing, maybe front to back. Now we're going to turn onto our mat nice and wide sideways. Doesn't matter which one you're going to turn to. We're going to just use the front and back of your mat. But our feet are going to be nice and wide, toes slightly turned out. Let's find our star. Extend those arms up diagonally. And then we're going to bend the knees, bend the elbows, find your goddess. Opening up that heart. And now we're going to inhale, reach the arms up. And then exhale, palms to heart space. So you turn one of your feet to the back of your mat, whichever one that is. And then you're going to turn slightly on the back, on your other foot. We're going to bend the knee towards the back of the mat. Find your warrior one, facing the back of your mat. And then just open it up. 5 breaths here. And make adjustments. If you need to move a little in this posture, maybe you rise up and down from the heel to the toe, get things loosening up. And then tune into that Ujjayi breath, optional to have your palms together. Make sure your weight is balanced between the front and back leg. One more breath. And then we'll bring the palms to heart space. Slowly straighten out that front leg. And then we're going to pivot to the front of your mat. All the way around, bending into the front knee, finding your warrior one. And feel free to have your hands apart or together, whatever feels good to you. And then opening up that heart, pressing into the outer edge of your back foot. And the same thing here. If you need to move, shift the hips, need to lean or go up and down in that foot, make adjustments, tuning into that Ujjayi breath. Two more breaths here. And then we'll bring our palms to heart space. We're going to pivot, turn both feet to the side of your mat. Extend the arms to the sides, front and back of your mat. Turn your foot to the back of your mat, whichever one is there, and then bend into that knee. So let's find our Virdrasana 2. Warrior 2, extending. If you need to inch the feet further apart, you can. Open up that heart, look over those fingertips towards the back of your mat. Make sure your knee is pressing into the toe. 5 breaths here. We've already got 2 down, so 3 more to go. One more breath. We're going to slowly transition all the way to the front. Keep the arms apart. Just pivot the legs, bend into that knee to the front of your mat. Make adjustments. Look over your right fingertips, and let's do 5 breaths. One more breath. Slowly pivot the feet again back to the back of your mat. So your foot just rotates. This time we're going to keep the legs straight. Turn your thumb up towards the back of your mat. Take your opposite hand, though, that's facing the front of your mat, place it on your hip. And almost like you're going to pull your hip towards the front of your mat as you lean and reach towards the back of your mat. Opening up your heart. You're going to start to feel a shift and adjustment through the inner thigh, that front leg, and then Trikonasana triangle. Placing your hands on the inside of the thigh or the shin. You can also use a block here. You would put the block by your foot or your hand, and then you can also reach your back arm to the sky. And just find your breath, 5 breaths. If you find that your top shoulder is collapsing down, please feel free to stay higher and holding onto the shin or even the upper thigh. Just never put any pressure on that knee. Let's do one more breath. And then slowly rotate. Coming back up, extend the arms front and back. Bend slightly that back knee, the one we were just on. Move that ankle a bit. And then pivot the foot to the side of your mat. And then rotate the other foot to the front of your mat. Thumb comes up. So we're facing now the front of our mat. We're just doing a little shift. The hand in the back comes to the hip as you start to give a little hip attitude towards the back of your mat. As you reach for the front, reach, 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 keeping that heart open, drawing the hand on the inside of the leg just for support, using the block if needed, lowering down. You can also hold on to the shin or the foot, and then extend the opposite arm overhead. And find your breath. Remember, it's up to you what level you go to. It doesn't happen overnight, so we have to continue practicing. And each day can be a little different than the next. One more breath. Soften that front knee, supporting your back as you come up. Turn the front foot to the side of the mat, and then rotate again. Now this time, place your hands on your hips and bring your feet just a little bit closer together. They're still like an L. All right, so your one foot is facing the back of the mat. But we're going to rotate now our whole upper body towards the back of our mat. So you might need to adjust your back foot more of an angle just to help your knees and your hips. So we're going to work towards pyramid. So we're going to work on the arms here. Our legs have been moving in lots of great directions. So option 1 is for prayer pose, bringing the fingers together behind your back. Now if you have shoulder, wrist issues and this isn't going to happen for you, option again to hold the wrist, forearms, or elbows. Either one is fine. So you pick which one that feels good to you and open up that heart. And then you start to hinge your hips towards the front of your mat as you lean forward towards your thigh, leaning to the back of your mat. And then just breathe here. Now you're going to start to feel a stretch through the hamstring, maybe the calf. Try not to death grip the mat with your toes, so soften those toes. You can always push into the big padding of the big toe. Keeping that back nice and flat. Finding your breath. You might be parallel to the earth. You might be a little higher. Maybe some of you are a little lower. One more breath. And then we'll slowly start to come up. If you would like, you can keep your hands right where they are and we just pivot to the front. Again, make adjustments with the feet. Maybe you turn them out. Those hips are facing the front, opening up. If your arms are tired, you can always release them and bring them back. And then start to hinge forward. Slowly, slowly. Looking at your big toe. Feel the crown of your head reaching to the front of your mat. And find your breath. Soften those toes. Check out your big toe. Notice what's going on in the hamstring, your knees not locked but soft. One more breath. And then we'll slowly start to come up. And then slowly release those hands. Big shoulder rolls. So you're facing the front of your mat. You're going to bend your front knee. And then we're going to slowly lower down, placing the hands on the floor. Take your time stepping back to a plank. Now, if a plank on your hands is very challenging, feel free to be on your knees with your hips forward and your shoulders over your wrists. So this is not a plank. This is just a very wide tabletop. So slide those hips forward so you can be, again, knees or on the hands. And just breathe. Feel the core engaging. Feel your strength. Now again, if you are feeling this and it's very challenging, feel free to go to the knees for a chaturanga. That's bending the elbows, slowly lowering yourself to the floor. Very slowly, again, using your knees if you need to. And then when your belly gets to the floor, we're going to untuck the toes and gently start to press our hands into the floor, lifting to an upward facing dog. And take your time. If you feel any pinching in the low back, take your body back to the floor and maybe just go on the elbows. That's an option. Pull the shoulders away from the ears, 5 breaths. Feel the opening up of the heart. Feel the stretch through the belly. You can be on your knees. You can push into the tops of the feet if you want and lift the knees off the floor. That's a little more advanced. Now, after our 5th breath, we're going to do a counter stretch. So very slowly lower the knees if they're not on the floor. Separate your knees, feet together. Use your hands very slowly, walking your hips towards your heels. Take your time. Go slow. Very slow. And then start to melt your belly between the thighs. And breathe. And again, you can walk your palms together. You can bring your thumbs towards your spine. One more breath. And then we'll bring our palms to the floor. And then slowly coming back to center. We're going to cross the legs and we're going to have a seat facing the front of the mat. So back to our Dandasana, sitting nice and tall. Relax the shoulders. Maybe move the shoulders, move your head a little bit side to side. So we're going to take that right leg and let's pull it in nice and tight. And I just want you to squish it into the belly, flex your left foot, and then sit up as tall as you can. Feel that nice stretch. Now from here, you're going to take that foot, you're going to let the leg drop open to the right. Now it can stay here, or you can bring it onto the leg for half lotus. If that is too much on your knee, again, feel free to keep the foot down, or you can just maybe hold it right above the knee. That works as well, as long as you're not putting pressure on the kneecap. All right, so your foot can be like a figure 4, or it can be all the way up on top of the thigh. And we're going to flex that left foot. You're going to take your right hand, and I want you to reach it behind your back. Now, maybe you can reach the toe. This side, I'm not getting there. And that's okay. I'm just going to hold it behind my back. I'm going to reach my left arm forward. So try this out. If you are holding your foot above the knee, then maybe you just hold on to the top of the ankle and then you lean forward. And you're reaching for your toes. If you cannot reach your toes, maybe hold on to the shin, or you can have both hands on the foot. That works as well. So you got lots of options there. And you're just going to breathe for 5 breaths. Inhale and exhale. You're still lengthening through the spine. Let your body to adapt to the posture. One more breath. And then we release the toe, coming up nice and slow. Let that leg extend out and give it a little shake. Now we're going to bring the left foot in nice and tight. Hug it in first. You want to get that stretch in that hip. And then you can start to let it fall open. And then again, bring it up on the thigh if you'd like, or you can just place the ankle right above the knee. So you get the same options on this side, whichever works for you. Take your left arm back. So it depends on the day also. So like this foot, I can actually reach today. Take your right hand forward, but I was not even close on the other side, and that's okay. We're going to reach forward, holding on to the knee, the shin, the toe, or just let your hand rest on the floor. Lengthen through the spine, leaning into it. Find your breath. Ujjayi breathing means you inhale through the nose, contract the throat, and then pull that belly in and up as you exhale through the nose. When things are challenging, it helps with the breath. And sometimes just holding a posture for a long time is not quite as easy as we would think it would be. And then we're slowly going to release. Let the hand come back from around the back, bringing that foot off of the thigh. Go ahead and release, straightening it out. And give a little stretch. We're going to bring that right leg back in to the chest. Reach it in, pull it in. Now take that foot and bring it across the thigh. Now you can hold on to that right knee with the left arm. You can just sit nice and tall, lift, lengthen and twist. Or you can bend the knee and pull that left ankle towards your right butt cheek. Just make sure you're not sitting on it. If the foot comes off the floor and it can't quite go there, then keep that leg straight. Otherwise, we're going to hug that right knee into the chest, right arm behind you, lift and twist, looking over your right shoulder. Find your breath. Inhale and exhale. See if you can slow your breath a little here. Longer, slower, deeper breaths. And then slowly release. Coming all the way back to center. Go and unwind the legs. Give them a shake. Shall we try the left side? Let's pull it in. Give it a squeeze. And then pull that foot over the thigh. We're going to hug that knee into the chest. Left arm behind you as a kickstand. Now remember, you can always stay here, or you can bend the right knee and bring that right heel to the left glute. Lifting and twisting and looking behind you over your left shoulder. Find your breath. You have one more breath here. We're going to release slowly. Unwind those feet, bring them forward. We're going to scoot forward on our mat slightly. So we're going to find our boat pose, Nirvasana. Your toes are going to come up off the floor. want you to lengthen through the spine and start to relax back so you start to feel your core working. Option is to hold on to the thigh, pull the shoulders away from the ear, and you can let go. I'm going to give you a couple more options. One, to have the feet off the floor and hold, or let go. Either one. So you can hold on or let go. Relax those shoulders. You can also extend the legs. So you might get a little shaky. Again, you can always bend them. Don't forget to breathe. 5 breaths here, right? Now you're going to cross your legs. Place your palms on the floor. Sit up nice and tall. Maybe lift the hips off the floor. And then lower the hips back down. And find your boat again. Little core engagement there. You might feel it a little bit more working now. Again, option, extend. You can always hold. You can always bring your feet to the floor. Last one. Cross the legs the opposite way. Place the hands on the floor, lengthen, lift. Lift the hips if you can. Tiny little lift. Lower back down. Good. And then this time you're going to lower all the way to the floor and hug the knees into the chest. Let's give it a rock side to side. Finding your center, go ahead and let your feet drift to the floor, knees bent, feet flat. Reach your fingertips towards your heels. Walk the feet in about hip distance apart. Relax your shoulders. Then press into the feet, lifting the hips, finding your bridge, lengthening through the spine, making sure the knees are pulled into alignment. Optional to reach your arms overhead. 5 breaths here. One more breath. And then slowly lower the hips, bring the arms back down towards the body. Hug your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg to the front of the mat. Extend your right leg all the way up, maybe an ankle rotation holding behind the thigh, and then other direction. Point and flex. Bending the knee, hug both knees into the chest. Continue holding the left leg as your right leg goes to the front of the mat. Feel that nice lengthening, and then extend your left leg to the sky, some ankle rotations, holding the back of the thigh, pulling the shoulders away from the ears. And then bend the knee back into the chest, hug both knees in. Separate the knees, pull them to the armpits, and then release the feet nice and wide on your mat. Bring your arms to cactus arms, backs of your hands on the floor. Drop both knees to your right and look to your left. And close your eyes, tune into that breath, 2 more breaths. After your last breath, bring your head to neutral. Go ahead and bring your knees up, keeping the feet wide. Drop both knees to your left and look to the right. Two more breaths here. And then we'll bring our head to neutral, bring the knees back to neutral. Walk the feet and knees in together. And this is where you might want to grab your block. And you're going to lift your hips and slide the block underneath your sacrum there, right at the tailbone, the top of the glutes, and let your hips rest on the block and let your hands rest on the floor, and then extend both legs to the sky for supported staff pose. 5 breaths here. If you don't have a block, you can also put a pillow or fold a pillow up under it, or even a blanket. And you can also put your feet on the wall. So you can scoot over to the wall and just put your feet up on the wall. Or maybe up the back of your couch, if that's closer for you. One more breath. And just bend one leg at a time. Bring the foot to the floor. Both feet come down. You're going to press into the earth and remove the block. And just slide it out of the way. Slowly lower your hips to the floor. And then you're going to just let your legs slide down to the mat, finding your Shavasana, turning your palms up, opening up that heart, closing your eyes if you feel comfortable to do so. Just take 5 breaths here, tuning into it. Feel the energy connecting all the way from your toes to the top of your head. After each breath, just notice your fingers, your toes. After you're done with your 5 breaths, bring your first finger and thumb together, then your middle finger and thumb together, ring finger and thumb together, pinky finger and thumb together. And then open your fingers wide, take a deep breath in, and then exhale, make a fist. And then inhale, open the fingers wide, option to reach them over the head and point the toes, full body stretch. And then exhale, arms come back down, option to roll to your side if you would like. And then you can take your time pressing up to an easy seat, a Sukhasana. So sitting up nice and tall, and you're welcome to just lay there if you'd like. Check in with that posture, pull that chin in, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Take a deep breath in, reach those palms all the way overhead. Exhale, palms to heart space. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.